Morning guys, welcome back to part 2 of the big K20 engine build. It's been a couple of days as I had to wait for some parts, and also I've got kids and things like that, so I can't just come down here all the time, unfortunately. But yeah, I've come back with some goodies. I've come back with a digital torque wrench and a torque angle gauge, just to make sure everything is perfect, as obviously I didn't have that before. I've got new crank seals as well, which is what I needed. So I've got them also. I'm a bit worried about having everything though. I'm not sure if I've got everything. So yeah, obviously I thought that head gasket kit did have it in, if you've seen the last video, and it didn't. So it's just got me being a bit wary at the moment. So I was going to plod along and do what I can. So, right, as you can see, it's only a Halfords one. Not cheap though, by any means. It's still 100 quid, I think, or 90 quid or something like that. And then obviously got my secret folder. And then obviously got me torque angle gauge, and I said my crank seals. That's a genuine part number if anyone needs it. So yes. Yeah, basically going to jump to it. I am going to obviously clean these once more, using a bit of brake cleaner, make sure everything's clean, as obviously where I've left it I sprayed WD-40 so it didn't get no corrosion. So I'm going to clean these with brake cleaner quickly, and then once they're clean from brake cleaner, I'm going to be putting assembly lube on everything and getting the crank installed. So may put you on a time lapse for that, guys. Alright guys, sorry I didn't put you on a time lapse there. I just wanted to get this done, and setting up a tripod and everything. I just thought, no, I'm just going to whack at getting the crank in, and now it's in. I'm going to talk you through it quickly. So yeah, let's have a look. Alright, so as you can see, the crank is installed and all torqued down to the specs it's meant to be. As you can see, my fingers, look how easy it is. Look, it's the tiniest thing ever. Look, you can do it with literally 2 fingers. Look, it's so smooth. The only bit of grip on there is you can feel is the lube, which obviously lubes it up, but that is so smooth. It's going to be good. So yeah, so anyway, that's the crank installed. Rundown of torque settings. Oh, I've got them written down. Don't quote me on this. I've got them written down. I've just had a look at them. They're actually in my book. But anyway, I'm pretty sure that's 22 foot-pounds. With a then you want to go 56 degrees on the degree angler after. So yeah, I went up to 56. Obviously, it's not on 56 now, but yeah, I've done all of them. Torqued them up. These go to 16 foot-pounds, I believe, according to the book. So I've literally just done it all to spec, and the crank is installed. Because I didn't show it, guys, I'm sorry. I do apologise for not putting on time lapse to give you an idea of it and things like that. I said it's dragged on a bit, this at the moment, so I just wanted to knock it out. Yeah, basically when you're putting the crank in, basically, in my opinion, other people may think it different, but I'd say don't be shy on assembly lube. So when you're lubing up the bearings, plenty on it. It's perfect. You don't know binding, you don't know metal on metal contact. You want it like, look, it's smooth as that. Look, that's one finger. Look, that is when you know your crank is good. So yeah, so happy with that. Spins very freely. I said really happy with that. So, and I said I've checked all the clearances, so I know that everything is in spec on it. But yeah, anyway, going off topic, I said put loads of assembly lube on, and it'll be fine. When you put your thrust washers on, which obviously go, so obviously this is gearbox side, 4th journal I believe it is. Yeah, you put loads of lube on either side of the thrust washer. I'm just trying to look. I've got another set here. But yeah, when you put them on, make sure that the flat surface is to the block on both sides, and the notches are facing the crank side. So yeah, it'll be perfectly smooth flat side, 2 of them, and then you mate them up with a bit of lube on here so they stick to it, and then you can just drop the crank in nice and easy. Make sure once you put that crank in that they are still level, obviously before you put the girdle on, because obviously I've seen some people install them and it's gone a bit wrong because of that. So make sure everything is all in sync. I had the new main seal I fitted on. Now obviously it's a bit messy at the moment because I used a lot of Honda Bond, but I will clean it up after. Not many people do it, but I'm anal, so I did. I just put a very, 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 and I mean very thin line of Honda Bond around the crank seal, obviously on the outside, so that when it does seal, I just don't want no leaks, 100%. And obviously I put a tiny bit of engine lube around the edge of the crank so that when it slides on there, it's nice and free, and that should seal really nice. But yeah, make sure when you put the girdle on, you get a nice load of Honda Bond on it. Honda Bond's obviously being the best. This is Honda Bond here. I've got this from Tagiwa. As you can see, I've absolutely rammed loads on, but I know that it's going to seal, and I know it's good. So I ain't done too much, but I'm not sure the quality of this one. I mean, it's meant to be genuine Honda Bond, as you can see. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's out of date one, but it didn't seem too great anyway. So I don't know. But anyway, it's sealed. It has sealed. I've checked it. It's really, I've absolutely rammed it on to make sure it's sealed. So I will tidy it up once it's all done. Obviously, so you can just peel it off after. But yeah, so the crank is installed, guys, to spec, and it is moving very freely. So that's that step done. Crank is installed. Now we'll be going on to installing the pistons, I believe. I want to have a look into this first, so whether to install this before the pistons or after the pistons. So I'm just going to have a quick weigh up of things, because obviously I've never installed any of these on any of my builds ever. This is the first time for me. So yeah, I'm going to have a quick look. Okay guys, so now, as you can see, we've got everything set up ready to, oh, God's sake, I need a bigger workshop, man, or a bigger bench area anyway. Sorry about this. There we go. So now we've got everything set up on here, ready to go. Just gonna give you a little rundown of things. Obviously, this is the studs you're going to be using. I'll show you how to measure them in just a second to give you a help on basically show you what bolts you've got in your rods, and obviously this is the stretch gauge to determine the stretch, obviously, because to get the maximum clamping effect on the rod. Obviously these take the most beating. So yeah, basically with these, they're saying to use 30 weight oil, which is obviously what they recommended, and obviously this is what they've basically done. So basically they're saying they've talked it roughly, it's going to be about 60 foot-pounds. Obviously that's what you'll get in your stretch gauge, or you need to be in spec on your stretch gauge on each bolt. But they're saying basically it can vary between 55 and 65 foot-pounds depending on per bolt, because obviously each rod bolt is stretch dependent on clamping force. I think obviously when you're building a big spec engine, it is very important to get a stretch gauge and get it done. I've studied this now. I haven't got one, I'll be honest with you. And after having a good study, I reckon I probably will be getting one before I can fully finish the engine. But I may just talk it to 60 foot-pounds just until one turns up. As obviously I don't want to cut any corners on this engine at all, guys. So yeah. Anyway, let me run through quickly on how to measure the bolts. You have to bear with me though, because obviously it's hard to film and do obviously the process at the same time. So right out. Bear with me 1 second, let me just settle this up. Right guys, obviously you need a vernier for this. I used to have a cheap one that I bought years ago because I didn't think anything mattered, but this is not a cheap one. This is around the £40 range. Obviously you can probably get more expensive ones, and you can get cheaper ones that probably work as good. But I'm just going to show you how to measure the bolts you're using. Obviously they are ARP 2000. Obviously you can see the Manleys on them. Basically, you want to bear with me 1 second. Yeah, so what you want to do, oh god, this is so bloody hard, guys. Filming, basically, yeah, that's how you measure whether they're 3/8. Hang on a second, you change that. Yeah, I can't remember the calculation you do, but that works out to the 3/8 bolts, guys. If I can remember how to do the calculation, I'll add it in the description. I'll talk about it in a bit. But yeah, that between 0.372 and 0.375, that works out to 3/8 size. So, and then to measure the length, what you do is you measure it from, so it's the end of the bolt here, like the lip, right to the bottom. So, oh, bear with me, sorry guys. So yeah, you measure it from here. This is so awkward. I need someone to film. Anyone want to come and film? Right, so, oh God, I'm having a right nightmare here. Basically, I can't film this, guys, because it's impossible. Yeah, basically, you measure from here to here. As you can see, if I measured it up properly and actually got it, it shows, as you can see, 1.5 inches. So obviously I can't film and do it at the same time, but that's how you measure up your bolts and make sure you're using the right ones. So always follow the specs on here, and if you're not sure about anything, don't build it. Do your research first, or get a professional's opinion, because I mean, look at the money on this table. This ain't like a little bit of money here, and ain't a little bit of money there either, guys. So you're really playing with thousands of pounds worth of stuff here. Make sure you get it right before you start jumping in and think, oh, I'll give it a go, because it can be a very costly process. I mean, I've never built one of this power or this spec before, so I mean, it may go wrong for me. I say I've built them for 500 before. I think they're one of the ones I built running over 600, but I've never built one nowhere near to this spec, basically, over the O-rings and with such a built head and things like that. So just make sure you're confident in what you do, you know what you're doing, you've studied everything, you've got a bit of mechanical background, a bit of engineering knowledge, because it can be a very costly process if not, guys. Trust me, I can't stress that enough. So yeah, what I'm going to do is now I'm going to try and set up a tripod somehow, and then try and film me putting the rings on and the rods on and things like that, guys. So I'm going to jump to that quickly. Right, I managed to get the tripod set up, guys. I don't know how good the view is. I am sorry. I am going to try my best for you. I wish I could have it at a different angle, but there just isn't much room. Yeah, basically I'm going to go through installing the pistons onto the rods before I put the rings on. That's the way I do it. If people wondering, that's the assembly lube I've been using for the whole build. Used it all the time, never had any problems with it. So yeah, that's what I'm sticking with. So yeah. By the way, when people open things like these on your pistons or anything in your rods, don't be using Stanley knives, please. Just use your strength and rip it, because you don't want to be scratching nothing, no surfaces or nothing like that. So yeah, as you can see, although you can see it on there, I don't know if you're getting the camera, but it's CP, Carrillo pistons, and it's saying the pin, obviously you can get uprated pins. These are rated for over 700 apparently, so we'll see. We shall see. Yeah, you got your pin, and then obviously you got your piston. So what you're gonna do is you get your snap rings. These can be quite tricky to fit, but the way I like to do it is I get an edge in here, so I get, I forget I'm filming, guys. This is, like I said, I'm all new to me filming and actually doing it. I like to get this part in here first, and then like sort of pop it in and clip it in. Make sure you don't let it spring out, because they are very springy. I'm just gonna do this a second, bear with me. Should hear it popping any second. As I said, these can be a bit of a pain to get in. But once they're in, and you, before you put the pin in, you always get one side in first. There we go. One's be an absolute bugger to pop in, but as I said, they can be like that, so don't panic. I've had some right headaches on getting these in before, and this one is being one of them. Nearly in. There we go. So after all that kerfuffling about, I don't know if you heard it pop on the camera, but yeah, that's popped in nicely. So I'm just moving it round because obviously you don't want the groove. I'll show you one second. I'm trying to talk and film. I do apologise, guys. As I said, I'm not used to doing this, so yeah, this is all a new process for me. Actually showing people how it's done and things like that. Yeah, but basically what it is, it's popped in now, as you can see, nicely in there. I will probably, once I put a bit of assembly lube, try and move the ring around, because obviously, as you can see where it's split there, yeah, that basically, you don't want that any chance of popping out of this sort of hole here, because obviously if they line up and there's just any chance of popping, I mean, it probably never will, but just better being safe than sorry. So yeah, just try and make sure that the grooves are around a bit away from this slit here. So right, guys, when installing the piston to the rod, first thing first, another thing you want to look at is the piston. So you want to install it the right way on the rod. Right, the piston, I mean, every car's the same, I believe, unless I'm missing, or sometimes they'll be the same sort of size, but usually the intake side is always bigger than the exhaust valve side. So obviously you can see how big them notches are compared to them. Yeah, so basically they're the intake side and this is the exhaust side. So now we've identified that and distinguished that, basically what you're going to do is, with the rod, obviously these are massive rods, I can't believe the size of these, I'm looking forward to this. You want to get the notches. The notches always want to be on the exhaust side. So when you build it, these need to be on the exhaust side, and obviously the side without no notches. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to look at the camera as well, film. Yeah, the side without the notches will be on your intake side. So, I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference doing it the other way, but this is what I've always known, and this is the way I've, like, everyone I speak to, this is the way it's done. So, yeah, always have the notches on the exhaust side. So now, what you want to do is, when you install it, so obviously you've got your snap ring in there already. to make it easier. I'll show you now. Like I say, I'm never really shy with the lube. I like to get it lubed up because I don't want no binding on anything. I don't want no metal on metal contact at all. So yeah, I'm just going to literally lube the hell out of it. I even do a little bit extra in here. I mean, you don't really need to, but it's just me. So I'll do a little, just a tiny dab in there. Tiny little blob. Just give it a little go around like this, and then obviously you know that's well lubricated. So make sure you put it on right. So this is the intake side. So intake side, the rod will be facing, the manly rod will be facing to the left. So yeah. Just double checking here. Yep, we're all good. We are all good. Alright, okay. So, here we go. And that slides in there like that, and then you should, the piston should be really nice and floppy. Make sure that is fully in to the snap ring, guys. That needs to be fully pressed down. That's all the way in. You can see it there, and the piston is, you got a lot, that's free as anything, like that's it. So it needs to be really free. I've seen things in the past where these have, if you've got cheap rods, I'm not saying no company's name, but if you get cheap rods and they don't, sometimes you get them and they don't fit in here and they're all binded up and things like that. So that's not what you want. You can see how free that is. That flop itself, so that piston will flop. So that's in, and then same, basically you put the snap ring in there the same way you put the snap ring in there. It's no different, guys. So that's how you install the rod on the piston. So as I said, got my exhaust valves, my intake valves. So the exhaust side with the notches on the exhaust side, intake side no notches. So just going through it with you again. And yeah, I'm going to crack on doing the rest of these now for you, so at least you know, you've got a rough idea on how to do it. And then once I've done these and it's all ready, I'll get back to you. Right, guys, sorry, I just had a lunch break, so if I'm burping my tits off, then apologise. So as you can see, all the pistons are on. They're all the same way. As I said, inlet side no notches, exhaust side with the notches. So sorry. So yeah, that's how they go. I'd say, excuse me, when you're about to put the rods on as well, I'm gonna draw a little line on one side to make sure that the caps go on the right way on each one, because I mean, my brain, and I mean anyone's brain could do it, can get mixed up, but yeah, I'm just going to draw a line to make sure they go back on the right way, as obviously sometimes you can force them on, and yeah, I've heard horror stories of other people doing it. So do that. I'm now going to install the rings, but I'm not going to show you me doing that because I don't recommend doing it the way I'm doing it. Get yourself a piston ring plier. I ordered one a week ago, still hasn't turned up. I don't know what's going on with the postage. So, and no, it weren't a China one, so I'm not going to get no coronavirus, thank God. It was someone from in the UK. But yeah, I've still not received it. It's been over a week. So I'm going to put them on with hands. I'm not going to show you this process, as I do not recommend doing it with your hands. So I'm going to jump on and do this, and once they're on, I'll show you. One thing I will go through with you guys while I'm installing them, I've obviously got the oil ring on. Yeah, that was no problem. That's easy rings to get on. To be fair, they're all easy by hand, but I'm just not going to show you something I don't recommend, as I recommend getting the correct tool to put the piston rings on. If I had one, I'll be using it, but one didn't turn up, unfortunately. Yeah, got the oil rings on. Make sure that when you do put your rings on, you don't get mixed up. Now, 95% of piston kits I've ever worked with, usually the top ring is like a stainless chromy colour, and the second ring down is obviously a bit of a dark colour and a bit of a more softer material than the top ring. So and also when you install the rings, got a little N on it, and in my opinion, I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but that stands for north, I believe, means facing up. So that means that piston ring goes on that way and not that way. So yeah, because they've got to go on a certain way because they've got like little ridges. Yeah, so but that means north. That's the second ring, that's the top ring. So I'm going to carry on installing the rings. I've only just started, but I thought I'd go through that with you. So if you got to this part and you're like, ah, that's how you do it, guys. Okay. Right, guys, got all the rings installed. So yeah, 1 to 4 is all on and they are ready to go in. I don't know if you remember my old tool up there. See, yeah, it's disgusting with it, so I bought a new one. So yeah, I'm now going to be installing the rods and pistons, guys. I'm gonna get a time lapse on this one for sure. So let me set it up now. Alright guys, sorry I didn't film as much in depth as I wanted. It's hard filming on your own and when you want to get stuff done. As obviously there's not a lot of time to get the car ready still. I want to try and get it ready for 23rd of February. It's less than a month and obviously engine's not even fully built yet. So I do apologise, this is not as in depth as I thought and as I wanted, but I've tried to get as much as I can, sorry. Anyway, the engine's running, it's in the car now. Sorry to skip, no, I'm joking. It's not that much. But no, as I said, I didn't film it as much as I wanted, but I managed to get a lot done. It's hard to film on your own. And I'm gonna show you now where we're at. So there we are. She is fresh. Look at this. This is effortless, absolutely effortless. So yeah, this is going to be making the power soon. Everything is very, very smooth, and I mean very smooth. I'm very happy with it. Yeah, as I said, I didn't. I've lost my head a bit there. I was watching a video about 2 weeks ago on the engine build. I think it was a K24. I can't have it on this anyway. No, it's got CSS, but on the K24 they had like a coolant diverter. Little plastic thing or a little something that goes in there, some type of material, when it goes in it diverts the water here. I was just looking on mine. Anyway, enough of that. But yeah, look at the state of all the Honda Bond. That's all right, that'll come off after, guys. When that's dry, just get a blade on there, make it look a lot neater. But I wanted it to seal. I didn't want to be putting the engine together and then having an oil leak, so I wanted it done properly. But yeah, the pistons are in, and I'm buzzing. I'm happy with that. Look at that. That is just so smooth. I'm literally using one finger to do that. So I'm covered in a lot of assembly lube, by the way, so I'm slipping everywhere. But yeah, look, it's one finger stuff. It is literally, oh yeah. So I'm very happy with how it is at the moment, so, and how it's going. So the next step now I'm going to be doing is I'm going to try and install the copper O-rings, because I've never done it before. So wish me luck. I'm going to try and I've watched Boosted Boys do it. Basically what the crack is, you can see these little grooves. Yeah, you've got to hammer this, or I say hammer it, I'd say tap it in, and then when you get obviously all the way around, make sure you get as close to one another as possible. It's basically touching, like you don't want to gap them. It's like a piston ring basically, except for obviously you want this a bit tighter than a piston ring. You want that touching because you don't want to be losing no boost or nothing through the cylinder. So this is to clamp the head down like an animal, so you can run silly boost. But yeah, so I'm going to crack on with that now. I ain't going to put a time lapse on it because I've got to learn and do it, and I don't want to be showing you something if I'm doing it wrong. So I'm going to try and do the first cylinder and see how I get on. And then once I've done them today, I think that'll be me calling it a day. It's been quite a long day. So let me just jump on with this. It's not too hard, but I've never done this before, so I may have done it wrong. Critics may be saying, oh no, it's not going to work. Oh, I don't know. Well, I'm learning curve, so I'm just going to make sure that it's all buttoned up. That's got to go down a little bit more. But other than that, it's not too bad. It's in there. So yeah, I'm going to go around and tap that in a bit more because I didn't notice that. But yeah, I'm going to do them all and make sure that that's all tapped in there really nice. But it's not that much of a hard job, and that's what I was on about when, there you go, that's how close I've done the lip, so there's no gaps leaking out or nothing like that. That's sealed, that ring will be sealed. Just got to tap it in a bit more, but yeah, O-ring, guys. So yeah, that's going to bite the head, and that will be able to hold more boost then, because obviously this cylinder pressure, like it's going to be a tight squeeze between the head and obviously the block. It's going to be harder for any cylinder pressure to release out. So that's the idea behind it anyway. So I'm going to carry on and I'm going to finish off the rest of them. I'm going to obviously tap this bit in first a bit more because I'm not happy with that, and then once it's fully done, I'll show you. O-rings are in. Yes, happy with them. They're really sealed in there. They're in there, mate. Yeah, they're not coming out. So that's the O-ring situation. That's a built bottom end, guys. So look at that. How high does the piston come up? Oh, I thought it was going to protrude a bit more than that, but obviously if I was a professional builder like 4 pistons and people like that, I'd have to, I don't even know, I forget the name of the tool, but to measure how high the piston comes out of the deck. But it's pretty low on there, so I'm not too worried of it hitting the valve or anything like that. That's actually made me worry a lot less now, because I thought I was going to protrude a bit more than that, because obviously it being decked and CSS'd. So the bottom end, well, it's fully complete, obviously apart from oil pump and that, but as crank and rods and pistons assembly wise, we're doing it. So I'm really happy with that. Yeah, all there is to do now, you don't even want to see the state of this place. Here's how we're going to go, guys. You ready? Messy worker. There is shit everywhere. So yeah, what I'm going to do is now, guys, I'm going to wrap this video up there. Yeah, if there's anything I forgot which you do want to question, or if you're building a motor and you want to take advice from my video, let me just let you know a couple of things. I am not a professional engine builder. I have never worked in an engineering shop in my life. I've just built motors, sort of, I'd say driveway built and home built. So I'm not no expert, it's just learning from past experience, and obviously watching other people, reading, and just basically learning all myself off my own back, and obviously a couple of good friends that taught me back in the day on my old puntos and that. He helped me out a lot back then, sort of giving me a boost when I started it, because he knew his stuff and I was new to the game. We're talking 12 years ago, maybe a bit more than that, so we're talking a long time. I built a few engines in that time. So yeah, I'm no professional, and basically I know what I'm doing, and I do it to the best of my ability with the best of tools I've got, with the budget I've got. So hope you're enjoying the build series so far. But if you are watching and you are learning, I'm no professional, remember that. But if you go back through the whole channel, I've done a few builds on it, a few engine builds, never been a problem with the engine ever. We spat a rod out of one engine. That was a stock engine, a B18C4 that I'd never opened. That was from Honda factory. We was pushing 385 brake through it, spat a rod, doing a top speed run. No engine I've built has blown that I know of. So yeah, it's all off your own back if you want to take the knowledge from me and take the advice from this channel, and obviously this video, upon yourselves to build your own. I mean, you'd enjoy it. I hope it all goes right if you are doing that, and I hope everything works out for you and you do every process properly. Because obviously, I said it can be quite an expensive downfall if you get things wrong, and yeah, it's not nice. I've seen it happen to people. I think it's happened to me once a long time ago. I think it was a Punto. I think I built a Punto engine and I cracked the ring lands or something. The rings, I didn't seat the rings. Something happened. I didn't do the ring gap properly or something, and it cracked the ring lands years and years ago. Talking sort of one of my first builds and that. So yeah, it does happen, guys. But yeah, I hope you can take this video and sort of learn a bit or two, and then maybe do your own build and enjoy it yourself like I do, because I do this just for enjoyment. I don't do it to show people anything. I don't do it because I want to sort of, well, I'd love to obviously be a professional engine builder and have my own massive company, but it's hard nowadays. I'm not holding no hopes to that. I'm just going to plod along and do what I enjoy doing, guys. So hope you're enjoying the build so far. I'm going to wrap it up here. If there's anything you need to know, any questions, any comments, drop them in the comments on YouTube or Instagram us. The link's in the bio, and also or Facebook. The link's all on there for you guys. So yeah, so the next one should be a very good video. Getting the head bolted on, getting the oil pump all fitted, basically getting all the nice stuff done now, because sort of the nitty gritty stuff's really done. I like putting the head on and things like that, talking it down, and I've got to learn about fitting them cams in yet. So I've sort of practically learned, but obviously, well, I've never done it. I'm not going to say, yeah, I'm confident I know what to do, because I've only watched and learned on K's. My first ever K series engine I'm building, guys. So I said, like, subscribe, share. I hope you're enjoying it. Remember, XO Racing, the link's in the bio. Go and get a 10% discount using my code. Remember that, because he's helped me out so much lately, Matt. And obviously, he's chucked a load of bundle in for the giveaway. And the giveaway is going to be announced in the next 2 days. I think Wednesday I'm going to announce it. So still get your entries in. There's still, I haven't got that many entries. There's probably over 60 people who's entered, 60 to 80 people, which ain't that many to grab some free goodies. So make sure you get involved. Anyway, till next one. See you soon, guys. Take care.